What's up, guys? Another installment of 10 Questions With, or as many questions as we can get to, with special guest, former coach, good friends, and all-around swell guy with huge quads, Matt Beggs, featuring his left quad. Okay, so we got some questions that we're going to answer, so take it away.
Hey guys, good to see everybody. I noticed that you guys have a hoop outside and a climbing wall. What other kind of fun stuff do you have going on across the Walnut Creek?
Andrew?
Well, we have strength and positions. It's pretty fun. We have our new prep program, so hips and shoulders, prepping those. Eric?
Actually, talk about, this might be a good segue to kind of break the summer of, that idea we've been talking about. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, I see what you're talking about.
Yeah, sorry, I can't see you.
So one of the things we were thinking about doing this kind of promoting this summer is kind of the summer of using your fitness. So the summer of being outdoors, so the summer of working hard here, doing your squats, doing your presses, doing all that stuff, but then mountain biking and going bowling and hiking and going for runs and all that stuff and being outdoors a little bit more. And we're going to try and promote that with some outdoor activities, whether it be softball or, like I said, bowling or paddle boarding or hikes or something like that. We are probably going to start a bike riding program here, so we'll keep you updated on that. Anything else?
Yeah, just ideas like that. Basically, what are we getting all this fitness for? I mean, it should be to go out and kill life and do fun stuff. In addition to that, this is something coming up in the near future. We're going to do a sort of bowling. Well, it will be bowling, but it'll be like a bowling and food thing hosted by us in Sonora Ridge. So be on the lookout for that. It's looking like maybe April 17th. So yeah, cool, fun stuff.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Maybe in 2017 you guys can make a trip out to the Jersey Shore. Everyone? Do some paddling and surfing out there. That sounds totally awesome.
We'll fly everyone out there.
So when I started off at CrossFit Walnut Creek 3 years ago, I'm just like your average Joe. Do you think goal setting is important for kind of just everyday people?
We'll answer that, but why don't you answer that? Because you're one of the first person to put a goal up in 2015.
Yeah, I noticed that got painted over from 2015. But
Because you accomplished it.
Because I accomplished it. I beat my goals. But yeah, I think goal setting is 100% needed and super important, especially for kind of the guy, the working man, woman that comes in here. I think it keeps you motivated and just striving to get better, whatever that goal is. If it's losing 10 pounds or squatting 400 pounds, it kept me coming in day after day, trying to hit that number that I put on the wall for myself. So.
Yeah, and working out, and I think what we're doing here is a very fun form of fitness, but reality is if you kind of forget what you're maybe working towards, it can be tough to come in and squat and squat and squat and squat and squat with no real goal in sight. Even if that goal is to add 5 pounds, add an inch to your legs, be able to jump higher, be able to last on your hikes longer, whatever it may be, having something to actually reach towards. An old saying that I heard that I always really liked was kind of one of the biggest curses you could put on someone is that they achieve all their goals because they have nothing left to work towards, and you're just kind of there. So yes, goals are very important. Eric, you have anything to say on that?
Yeah, whenever new folks come into the gym, we always ask the very, very first thing is, what do you want to accomplish? And I would say more than half the time, there's sort of a struggle to really specifically identify what those things are, and there's nothing wrong with that. So my follow-up to that is, we can give you goals. We can give you ideas for what we think you ought to accomplish based on where you're at with things. And if you can't generate an idea of your own, it's almost like you don't know what you don't know. So, asking us for feedback as to what would be good ideas for things to accomplish, we can help.
Yeah, actually, one more thing kind of from the coaching side on goals is, I forgot what I was going to say as soon as I started talking. Go ahead, man.
I was just going to add into that, to Eric's point. I came in here and, I was thinking about goals, but I didn't really have any goals in mind. And after about 3 months in here, I got it in my head that I wanted to do squat the 400 pounds or, have a 500 meter rowing time that was legit. Mm-hmm. So but that took like 3 months for me to kind of like formulate those goals in my head, and that's what has kept me motivated ever since. So, but always changing those goals as I reach them.
Yeah, so I kind of constantly evolving your goals.
Yeah, totally important, and that can be day to day, week to week, month to month.
Yep.
And the last thing I think I would say on that is like, this is not and I know Eric and Andrew have said this all along, this is not a quick fix. This is like a long-term investment. Like, I've looked at this as like health for my life, and my goals are reflected in that, so.
Yeah, and actually to piggyback on that and then to say what I was going to say, I think one of the goals can also, like you said, keep you very focused as far as if you want to squat 400 pounds or whatever it may be. And you saying it's a long haul type thing. You got to squatting 400 pounds by not trying to find some new squat program or do some crazy new type of squat, something like that. You basically squatted for 2 years.
Yep.
And just made every testing cycle added 5 pounds, 10 pounds, stuff like that.
Yep.
So kind of that long haul, that goals can help you keep sight of that, and that, you know, my 1 year goal, my 2 year goal, whatever it may be, helping to stick with those movements that are maybe very challenging.
Right.
On the coaching side, what I was going to say, I'll make this very quick, is goals also help kind of guide the advice we're going to give you. So if someone comes in to us and someone says, what's the best ab exercise? The number one answer in fitness is always, it depends, but then after that is, well, what's your goal? I mean, if your goal is to get a super shredded six-pack, we may prescribe different ab movements as opposed to, I just want a really strong midline, which will have you pick stuff up, carry stuff, squat a whole lot, stuff like that, which will really complement your midline with axial loading, so loading on your body. So it can help from the coaching side in that we know how to talk to you, how to treat you, how to help you achieve your goals. If you're just in here, just to be in here, it can be a little more difficult because we don't really know where we're guiding you. That was it.
Cool.
Great.
Next question.
So I moved to New Jersey, and for my job now, I travel a lot, and I've dropped into a lot of different boxes throughout the country. And, you know, I've come across all sorts of different coaches, and sometimes I get some, I would say, bad training techniques or bad movement critiques. And I mean, that's just from my knowledge here. What would you say to somebody that's dropping into a box or maybe has moved to a different box that, you know, when they're hearing things that go total contradictory what I've been taught or you've been taught, and with good movements. So, how would you counteract do that?
Wait, is the question for us as coaches or for us as people dropping in somewhere?
You can take it as both. But more as like coaches, like what would you tell like a former CrossFit Walnut Creek member or a current Walnut Creek CrossFit member that drops into? I mean, do you ignore that coach, or do you know, I don't know how. Sometimes I don't know how to react to somebody that tells me that something is totally off base, and like I'm not going to say no, that's not, you know, because I don't know that person. So
yeah.
I just don't know how to handle that. So
I think that the long and short of it is if they can give you a reason that makes sense. If I had dropped in someone said, no, you really should be on the balls of your feet when you're squatting, your heels should be off the ground, and they gave me some awesome reason why, and it made sense to me, then that may help me take that advice. Being a coach who's very opinionated, I still feel like I can learn from anyone, any coach. I feel like even the worst coach can have a really good cue or something like that.
Right.
As far as just straight up like bad advice, I'm never a fan of ever calling someone out like mid-class or anything like that, obviously. Right. But maybe if they don't have a good reason, if you wanted to, approach them and just say, hey, could you elaborate on that? Like, what do you, if I'm supposed to round my back when I deadlift, can you like explain to me why and how that's structurally sound and stuff like that? Like, an explanation is very, very important. And if it's just complete nonsense, then I just totally disregard it. And also, I mean, if you have a coach that coaches you, stick with that coach, and hopefully you really trust that coach. And then in turn, you can bring that feedback that you got from another coach to your coach. You can have a discussion, and a good coach hopefully is willing to discuss and not just say that's bullshit or something like that.
Right. No, that's good advice. Yeah, and I don't like confrontation, so I don't know. Like, I don't like bring that up, but I would probably pull them aside and have a conversation with them about it. That's a good way to, you know, approach that person who might have issues. So.
Yeah. Would you have, Eric, since from an athlete's perspective, because you've dropped in a lot of gyms?
Nobody ever coaches me.
Because you're so good?
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, this is actually kind of a funny aside. I dropped into a box one time and somebody did coach me, and then the other coach in the class said, hey, he's an owner of a gym. And I was like, what does that matter? So they were providing me feedback, and the other guy said, like, stop providing him feedback. I'm not sure what the impetus for that was, but
their secrets.
I don't know what that was. I mean, you know, feedback is good, but I heard them say, like, don't coach him. So I don't often receive coaching advice, probably with good reason. They don't want to waste their time when they have their own clients that are paying them, as opposed to some guy who's going to be there for one day. That's kind of my impression of it.
And just something kind of a tangent to this, but and I know everybody knows this, we get great technique coaching in this gym, and the box I moved to in New Jersey, everybody that I've become friends with, and I work out with, they've all commented on my technique, and I by far don't have the best technique out of anybody in this, this gym, but I've worked very hard on it. They can tell, and that translates, and that's why I'm back coaching now. I think because of the technique that I was taught in here and how to move, and so I think that the coaches that we have in here are fantastic. So it carries over down the road with the knowledge in here. So.
Cool. So we got like 1 minute.
Okay. Okay. Has the expansion of the number of coaches / classes allowed you to introduce a new level of variety in the programming? Meaning, like, if you have a smaller classes, are you able to do different stuff that you normally wouldn't be able to do with a larger class, or has that changed any of your programming approach?
With a wider, we have like 10 seconds there.
We can go for like 1 minute.
Okay. So we introduced the CrossFit Virtuosity class, which is kind of our bridge from like the intro classes to the normal class.
Oh, okay.
And it is really just like Virtuosity. It's honing down the basics and just making sure that everyone in my class is doing everything. Even if you've been here for 3 years, doing everything perfect.
Right.
So maybe instead of back squatting that day, for a squat day, we'll do goblet squats, and they're just perfect goblet squats, whatever it may be. And then as far as opening up the program with more people, it's program become more challenging, but it also become a little bit more open, which is nice. I feel like it's going to be tough to elaborate on that in the time that we have.
We've elaborated. We've expanded our programming.
Okay.
That's the short answer.
That sounds good.
Cool. Well, thanks for joining us, Matt.
Thanks for having me, guys. It's been a great week.
Yeah. Hope to see you again soon.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Andrew. Thanks, Eric.